typhoon is coming over here to Japan, and I'm pretty much ready. I am actually in the office, and what I'm doing is I sent the staff home because just in case something were to happen. So bear with me today if I don't have everything perfect, but I will do my best. So, I am originally from America, and there's a lot of things happening around the world, including over here in Japan. And if you guys have any questions or comments, I really love to hear from you. So put some comments below, or, if there's something that I say that you disagree with, that's completely fine. Just let me know, and we'll go ahead and build a community over here at Savvy Japan today, right here on YouTube. So the typhoon is on the way. It's doing a lot of destruction in the southern part of Japan. Right now, it's raining. It's not really raining extremely hard, but I think it's going to be coming pretty soon. So if there's a lot of people over here in Japan who are listening to this YouTube video over here, please take care of yourself. And if there's anything that we can do for you over here at Savvy Japan today, please leave some comments below, or you can send us an email for any kind of emergency that might be happening. Maybe your cell phone doesn't work or something like that, and you want us to help you get in contact with somebody. That's no problem. Hello, everybody. This is Michael, and this is SavvyJapanToday.com. So before we get started with this video and with every video that I make, I have to say that these videos that I do make are commentary, discussion, and educational purposes only. Everything I share here represents my personal opinion, interpretation, or speculation. Some of the information discussed is based on publicly available news reports or statements from others, and should not be taken as verified fact. Please always do your own research and form your own conclusions. Having said that, let's get it poppin'. The next thing that I want to go over, because there's a lot of people who are really interested in what happened over there in China. There was a meeting over there in China for the 80th anniversary of World War II, and China gathered a lot of people and a lot of leaders from, well, let's just say Russia, North Korea, and India. And they gathered over there in China, and they were enjoying a military parade. Now, why a military parade? Well, I think it's for a few reasons. The number one reason is because, Xi Jinping wants to show his base that he's in control and he's very powerful and he's the man, right? He's the one who called the shots in China. He's still strong. There was a bunch of rumors about Xi Jinping, him being sick, and maybe he doesn't have a lot of power over there in China anymore. And so maybe that's why he's doing it. Another reason why they had this big parade is because they want to invite the president of Russia, Putin. They invited the Prime Minister Modi of India, and they also invited the North Korean guy. I don't want to call him a dictator, just because he might, not like it. Not that I care, but let's just keep it civil. So anyway, so you have all these leaders over there, and one of the things that they're trying to do is they're trying to say, "Hey, over there, Trump, look what we have. Okay, we have a powerful group of people over here, and we don't really need you anymore." And that's what they're really trying to do. They're trying to change the world order. Trump is really making America weak. He is making America look foolish. Trump is making America less democratic. And so, this thing that he's doing is really destroying the American image and making America look really weak. So what Xi Jinping is trying to do is he's trying to say, hey, you know what? We got this. Okay, we're a powerful country. We have our stuff together. America is flip-flopping all over the place. Flip-flopping all over the place. Flip-flopping is like, Trump says this, then he says this, and no one can trust him anymore. No one can trust Trump. Nobody can trust Trump because Trump says one thing one day and at the end of the night he changes his mind and says something else. He's always trying to cover his tracks and things like that. So the world is kind of like distancing itself from America. And what Xi Jinping wants to do is he wants to say, hey, we're the other option. You have other solutions. You can come over, and you can bank with us and do a bunch of stuff with us. Forget America because Trump is just destroying America and, blah, 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 something like that. Now, the thing is Modi, who is the Prime Minister of India, has always been on the side of America somewhat, not 100%, but somewhat. But because of what Trump has been doing with the tariffs against India, Donald Trump has raised the tariffs against India by 50%. So now Modi, who is the Prime Minister over there in India, probably got really upset. And he said, you know what? I think I'm going to call my buddy over there in China and I'm going to deal with them. So thank you, Donald Trump, for making America weak. And thank you very much for destroying democracy. Let's make America great again. Okay. Shohei Ohtani, let's talk about him. Shohei Ohtani is making a lot of people angry around the world, especially over here in Japan. Why? Well, Shohei Ohtani is a Japanese baseball player, as you all know. And he has made many, many, many Japanese people, especially the men, not the women, very, very upset, very, very, very angry, even. Why? Well, here's why. Because Shohei Ohtani is on the world stage. Shohei Ohtani is very tall. He's in good shape. He is attractive to a lot of women around the world, including over here in Japan. And a lot of women around the world, and over here in Japan, they are thinking that Japanese guys should look like Shohei Ohtani. They should look like him. They should be like him. They should make as much money as him. That's a Japanese man. That's what a Japanese man is supposed to look like, right? So a lot of women over here in Japan are watching Shohei Ohtani on TV, and they're just like, oh my God, why don't you look like him? So a lot of Japanese guys are like, they like Shohei Ohtani, of course, but very jealous, because a lot of women over here in Japan, a lot of Japanese women, they're glued to the TV and they're just really like watching Shohei Ohtani and they're like, "Oh my God, why doesn't my husband look like this? Why doesn't he make this much money? Why don't we have a house in Hawaii?" So that kind of thing is happening over here in Japan. And I don't know about your country. But anyway, put some comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about Shohei Ohtani. Let me know what you think about China and the 80th anniversary of World War II and what's been going on over there. As you all know, or maybe you don't know, I don't know, but I've been over here in Japan 25 or 26 years now, originally from America. And I love America, so I don't want anybody to get me wrong over there. Just because I'm living over here in Japan does not mean I don't love America. I really, really, really do. I don't like what's happening in America right now, and I wish I could kind of be there to help the Americans out with protecting democracy. And I'm doing my best in other ways. So if you guys have any advice, like what can I do to help democracy continue, please comment below. Let me know what you think, good or bad, whatever. If there's anything I can do, I wish I could be over there in Chicago with you guys because I know something's coming really, really soon. If by this time you see this video, something might have already happened. So let's stay tuned to that. So the record high temperatures over here, you're not going to believe this. 8,300 people have gone to the hospital for not only heat stroke, but heat exhaustion. And it's really bad over here in Japan. I think the high was 41.3 in terms of Celsius degrees. And that's really, really super high. It's really hot. So every time I go to work, I always go to work and I'm like trying to go into the shade. I have a bottle of ice water with me all the time. And when I get to my office, I'm sweating like a pig and I have to clean myself. Oh, it's just terrible. Over here in Japan, especially in Tokyo, I would say it's well, I don't know. I mean, I've seen some high temperatures in Saitama, And I think it was Yokohama or it was Izu or something like that. But yeah, it's been really hot. So be careful out there, everybody. And if you're coming over here to Japan, don't come over here and expecting it to be like, well, it might be kind of cool now because we have a typhoon now. Summer might be over. A lot of people are saying that once the typhoons come, summer is gone. It's going to start getting cool. So let's hope that that happens. Okay, the next thing that I want to talk about, and it's really, really important, and that is the anti-immigration protest over here in Japan. There have been a lot of Japanese people protesting against international people, tourists coming over here to Japan. Now, like I said, I've been here for a very long time, and I'm not like privy to all of this because, I'm going about my daily life. I'm not a tourist. I don't have a big suitcase with me. I'm not going to the sightseeing spots and things like that. I'm going to the office, I'm going home, I'm going to the grocery store. I'm living my life here as I have been for 25, 26 years now. And pretty much, pretty much doing the same thing as Japanese people do in terms of just their daily life and stuff like that. But there's a lot of tourists who are going to all of the tourist spots, and there's a lot of them. I'm talking about there are a lot of tourists over here from many countries. But I want to give you guys a little bit of information about why Japanese people are so angry. Is something happened to me a couple of days ago, and it never happened to me the full length time that I've been living over here in Japan. This kind of stuff has never happened. So this is why Japanese people are so angry. And bear with me because I heard this kind of thing from Japanese people, and I thought to myself, oh, come on, get over it. They're tourists. They don't know how to act over here in Japan. They don't know your rules. They don't know your Japanese cultural expectations unless they read a book or something like that. But here's what I'd like to say. So I was on the train about 2 days ago. And I was sitting there and I was looking at my iPhone and I was like reading. By the way, I'm over there on Threads. I read a lot on Threads. And if you guys want to connect with me, go to Threads, look for Savvy Japan Today Global, and look for me and contact me over there if you want to chat with me or you want to talk to me or you want to correct me or whatever. That's completely fine. If you want to make friends or whatever, that's completely fine. But what I want to say is, I was sitting on the train. There was not a lot of people on the train, but there were like maybe 50% full, and everybody was sitting down, and nobody was standing up. And I was actually going into Ginza, and because that's where the office is. So I was on my phone and I was just looking at it, and then this international person, I don't know which country he was from. I'm not even going to speculate. He did have an American accent, so maybe that gives you some clues. But he was a big guy. He was really sweaty. He was wearing a white t-shirt and really, really sweaty. And he was carrying some shoes with him to the side. He was wearing shoes, but he was also carrying some shoes. And he was on his smartphone talking really super loud on the train. And he was just walking through the train, talking loud like he's in a phone booth. And he's walking from one end of the train all the way to the other, talking as loud as he can into his phone. And when he walked by me, I looked at him and I was thinking, oh, what's going on here? Right. And I'm not the kind of person where I'm sensitive or anything like that. But this guy was huge and sweaty and talking really loud to someone on his phone walking through the train, ignoring all of the Japanese people on the train because everybody's reading books and stuff like that. But he didn't care. He was just walking through. And then as he passed me, I looked at the Japanese guy who was sitting in front of me, and he looked at me and I looked at him. And then we looked at the guy who just walked by us, and then we looked at each other, and then we just ignored everything. And we thought, okay, crazy. So I went back to my phone. He went back to his book. And then the international guy walked by again the opposite direction, talking really loud on his phone and going into the next car. And I looked up, and the Japanese guy looked up, and we looked at each other. We looked at him. We looked at each other, and we were confused. And we're like, what the heck is this guy doing? This international guy walked by 3 or 4 times before I had to get off, and the Japanese guy had to get off or something like that. But it was just really rude, disrespectful, and it was just something that you don't do in Japan. I've never done anything like that here in Japan. This is Japan, right? This is not America. This is not another country. This is Japan. I mean, that what he was doing, you don't have to read a book to know that you don't sweat, profusely on the train, holding some shoes and walking back and forth on the train, talking as loud as you can into the phone. And I don't know what he was even saying. I couldn't understand his English. He was speaking English, but it was like, what do you, he might have been a little bit, I don't know. But, and then another thing that happened to me was yesterday was I was getting onto the escalator. I was also getting off a train, getting onto the escalator. And as I was getting closer to the escalator, there was a line to get on the escalator. So I was standing in line, just like all of the other people who live in Japan. You stand in a straight line, and then when it's your turn, you get on the escalator too. This international person, I don't know which country he was from. He didn't say anything to me. I didn't say anything to him. But this dude cuts right in front of me. He didn't even care. He just cut right in front of me. And because I'm a nice guy, I'm very civil, I can back away. And that's what I did. I stopped and I let him go. And I stood there for a while. I let him go in front of me, and then he went up the escalator, and I still didn't get on yet. I was just looking at him like, okay, crazy. And he went up, and then there were a lot of people behind me, and then I got on the escalator, but I didn't want to stand next to this guy who got on the escalator. He cut in front of me. And then this dude turns around and looks at me, and he's looking down, and I'm looking up. And it's like, what are you looking at? Why would you turn around and look at what are you doing? So these kind of small things that are happening over here in Japan, and believe me, these are small things. Some international people are doing really, really crazy things. They're going to shrines and they're hanging on the housing of the shrine. They're doing just terrible things like drinking the shrine water, which you're not supposed to do. And they're just like doing things for their TikTok or for the YouTube or whatever. And it's like, dudes, man, you can't do that. You can't do that over here. You can do it. It's not like against the law, but my God, why would you come to Japan and disrespect the Japanese people and disrespect Japan? I just don't get it. I don't get it. I would ne I When I first came here, I was very respectful. It was like, okay, this is your country, not mine. So, man, I really got to learn like your ways over here if I'm going to be here. Okay, next thing. Let's talk a little bit about the Epstein files. Epstein files. Donald Trump doesn't like when people say Epstein files, and a lot of Japanese people don't know what the Epstein files are. And what these Epstein files are, this is information based on women who have been wrongly abused by this guy named Jeffrey Epstein, allegedly, because I say allegedly because he died mysteriously in jail after he was arrested. Mysteriously, he died. A lot of people think that he committed suicide. A lot of people think that he was murdered. And him committing suicide in the jail was almost impossible to do. So a lot of people are questioning, well, what do you mean? And one of the reasons, no. So anyway, check out Jeffrey Epstein on Google and you'll learn a lot about him. But what I want to talk about a little bit is that these women came out and I think it was just yesterday, and they were on TV and they were saying, yeah, we were abused by Jeffrey Epstein and also Jeffrey Epstein's friend Galani, something like that. Anyway, so she's in jail. So you have Jeffrey Epstein. He was like really rich guy. He had an island and he would abuse underage women allegedly on this island. And he had a person who was helping him. I think her name's Jelani. Anyway, she's in jail. And she is someone that people are afraid of because if she tells the truth about what happened on that island, a lot of really, really rich people and people who are in politics and maybe actors and actresses can get in a lot of trouble, end up in jail too. So we don't know. Keep your eye on that, what's going to happen with Galani. Um, she might be, she might have to like be subpoenaed and ask some questions more about the situation. A lot of people think that Donald Trump is going to pardon her because he's afraid of releasing the information that is in the Epstein files. But what happened recently was the women who were abused got together. I think there's like 20 or 30 of these women. And they said, hey, we don't have to wait around for the government to release the Epstein files. We can release our own files. We can release the names. We can release all the information that we know. We don't need the American government to release the files. The American government is not releasing the files because Trump is in charge of the American government. And I don't know if you guys know, but Donald Trump was like besties with Jeffrey Epstein, who was allegedly the person who abused these underage women. And Donald Trump was besties with him when all of this stuff was going down. And so it's a big, big thing. So keep an eye on that, Google that, and let's talk about it over there on Threads. Um, the last thing that I would like to talk about is Chicago. In America, there's a city called Chicago. Now, remember, I'm talking to everybody on these videos all over the world, but I'm also talking to people whose English is not their first language. So bear with me because I want to like kind of like skim over the news, but also try to a little bit more detail if I can. And if you guys could put some comments below and let people around the world know, for example, what you think. If you're in America, what do you think about what I have talked about? And give us additional information. If you guys could do a little bit of reporting on your own and putting it in the comments, that would be great. But the Chicago is under threat right now. So what's been happening over there in America is Donald Trump has been releasing the National Guard into Washington, D.C. So, in other words, the National Guard is supposed to protect America from invaders from overseas, but Donald Trump is using the National Guard, the military, to actually be in Washington, D.C. And he said it's to make Washington, D.C. a safe place to be. The problem here is the logic doesn't match what Donald Trump is saying because Washington, D.C. is safe. The crime has been going down year after year after year, but Donald Trump is saying, no, 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 it's really dangerous. So I need to release the National Guard all over Washington, D.C. Now, there's a few reasons people are speculating why he's doing this. A lot of people think it's because he wants to be the king of America and he wants to like put the army all over America. He wants to put the National Guard everywhere. He's using local police to do his bidding. He's using ICE, which is a kind of paramilitary operation under Donald Trump's tutelage. And so, people in America are seeing their democracy being overrun by what allegedly Donald Trump is like doing to our country, which is taking away our democracy. So a lot of Americans are really angry. They're upset. And, I don't know if the world knows, but yeah, America looks weak right now because of what Donald Trump is doing. But Americans are not going to stand up for what he's trying to do because America is not Russia, it's not China, it's not North Korea, it's not Iran, it's not Iraq, it's not Afghanistan. It is America, and American people will stand up for their rights. Now, the problem here is if the National Guard goes into Chicago, and that is what Donald Trump is saying that he's going to do either today or tomorrow, or maybe the next day, not really sure because Donald Trump is not letting anybody know when he's going to release the military into Chicago. And he's saying that he wants to release the military into Chicago because he wants to make it a safer place. But, Donald Trump, he doesn't care about making places safer. Look what happened when he was president the first time. America was becoming a very dangerous place. But thanks to MAGA, Donald Trump was voted into office again. Thanks, you MAGA people. And I think these MAGA people are starting to wake up. They're starting to wake up and they're starting to say, oh my God, prices are not being decreased. Donald Trump said he's going to decrease prices in America. But MAGA's like, oh, okay, you're going to decrease the prices. I love you, Donald Trump, right? But the prices are increasing and no matter what Donald Trump says, the prices are increasing. The prices are increasing for gasoline. The prices are increasing for everything from soap to shampoo to everything that you wear to everything that you eat. Everything is increasing since he became the president. He's been using tariffs to try to make America look great again. But what's happening inside of America, it's making America go into an inflationary period. Now, he's saying on TV that that's not true, but everybody doesn't believe Donald Trump anymore, except for the MAGA people who have, for the most part, have not gone to university, have not been worldly in their thinking. The MAGA people have not been connected with what we like to call reality. So these MAGA people who voted for Trump, and now I think they're starting to wake up and saying, hey, the prices for my moonshine is going up. Oh my God, my moonshine. Oh, moonshine is liquor that you make at home, but you still need ingredients to make moonshine. So maybe the MAGA people are like, oh, my moonshine prices are going up. So, oh my God, is Donald Trump telling me a lie? It's unbelievable, right? So the MAGA people are starting to come around and they're starting to think like, oh, Donald Trump probably told me a lie. He also said, Donald Trump said that he's going to end the war in Ukraine within 1 day or 24 hours or something like that. But I don't know if you guys know, but the war is still happening and Donald Trump did not stop the war whatsoever. The war continues, and Donald Trump had Putin visit him in Alaska. Can you believe that a Russian dictator touched American soil? So, a lot of people are saying over here in Japan, and maybe around the world, but I know in Japan they're saying that Donald Trump seems to be a Russian asset. A Russian asset. Asset is something good, right? It's something that you can rely on. And so a lot of Japanese people are saying that Donald Trump may be a Russian asset working for Putin, not really working for, but kind of collaborating. So this is allegedly what's happening. Let's talk about the word allegedly for all of you people out there who don't speak English as a first language. Allegedly is a word that we have to use in order for uh, TV programs, reporters, people who are saying something about what's happening in the world. If we say the word allegedly, it kind of protects us from being sued or something like that because we're just saying this is something that has been said, but it has not been proven in court yet. So we have to wait for that to happen. So the word allegedly. So anyway, getting back to Chicago, I'm really worried about what's going to happen over there in Chicago because what a lot of people think over here in Japan is Japanese people are starting to think that Donald Trump is going to send the National Guard into Chicago because they want the people in Chicago to um, be participants in what's going on. And if some kind of violence were to happen, then Donald Trump can say, oh my God, state of emergency, state of emergency. Okay, America is locked down. We're in state of emergency. There is violence over there in Chicago. But see, here's the thing. Donald Trump is starting this violence. He's the one who's saying that he wants to put the military into Chicago to clean it up, but it doesn't need cleaned up. Chicago crime has been going down, just like Washington, D.C. has been decreasing in crime. But Donald Trump is ignoring the numbers. He's ignoring all that information because in his reality, he's the king of America. He's going to do whatever he wants to do. So to get the entire country in compliance, state of emergency, which means military in every sector of America, including everywhere, including Hawaii, including Alaska, everywhere in America. Then Trump will become the king, and he will keep it into a state of emergency for as long as he can, and then he will say, "I have to be the president until this stuff is over." And here's the thing. If Donald Trump is not the president, let's just say for some reason the Democrats start to win in the midterms and Donald Trump starts to lose and the Democrats start to do investigations into all of these crimes allegedly that Donald Trump has done. And, Donald Trump can be thrown in jail. He can be impeached and thrown in jail. But as long as he's the president of the United States, he will not go to jail. And this is what he is holding on to. This is why he's creating chaos. That's why he's sending the military all over the place to create some kind of violence so he can call a state of emergency. And then he just basically allegedly wants to end democracy in America, become the king of America, rake in billions and billions of dollars in bitcoins and all this kind of stuff, and he will be able to go ahead and just be the king, and then Americans will not be able to do anything about it. However, I can tell you this, American people are not going to let Donald Trump get away with this. They're not going to let him get away with this. I know for sure because the American spirit is strong. They'll do whatever they have to do so that America does not have a king. America does not have a king, will not accept him as a king. This is our America, not Donald Trump's America. Donald Trump works for us. Donald Trump works for the American people. We don't work for him. He works for us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, having said that, we're at the end of today's video. We really hope that you enjoyed it. And by the way, please like and subscribe, as many comments as you can. And if you do that, we will like to build a community of people, not only here in Japan, but around the world, who would like to discuss the things that are happening around the world without any kind of bias whatsoever. All right, thank you. And we will see you in the next video. We're going to talk more about what's going on over here in Japan in terms of the tourist and in terms of what's happening over here economically too. As always, aloha.